The AGV K1-S is the new entry-level full-face helmet from AGV and the successor to the AGV K1. This helmet is specially designed as a sport race helmet. And we have given this helmet to our test rider and he came back with a lot of interesting data, so stay tuned. Hi everyone, Team for Champion Helmets here and welcome to our channel. Here in front of me I have the new AGV K1-S. This all-day sport helmet gives, according to AGV, a lot of value for everyday use at a reasonable price point. During our test we will find out if this is true. We put a lot of time and effort into these reviews with just one goal, so that you get to see an honest review based on facts instead of marketing language and personal opinions. So, if you appreciate this effort, hit that subscribe button and like the video so we can continue to do these tests and you keep getting honest in the reviews. Okay, before we look at the results, first some general points. The K1-S is approved to the new strict ECE 2206 certification, which is becoming mandatory for all new helmets. In addition, the helmet has a new spoiler, a double D closure and has a more oval fit. The AGV K1-S starts at a retail price of about €200 and will therefore compete with the AGC I90, South Squad 2, Nolang N66, AGC I70 and some other entry-level helmets. We're now going to start the review and we'll do so with the material part of the helmet. The AGV K1-S is made of thermoplastic or polycarbonate. Polycarbonate helmets are not the lightest helmets, but they offer you great protection when needed. In addition, the K1-S is available in 6 sizes and 2 outer shell sizes. A helmet with more outer shell sizes is safer, besides looking better and being more compact. If we add everything up, we see that the K1-S earns 2.5 stars for the material part. If we compare this with the other helmets, we see that as well and keeps up with the helmets we have mentioned so far. The K1-S earns as many stars as most helmets. The XO 491, the XO 520, Qualifier and the I90 earned half a star more thanks to more outer shell sizes. So a solid start for the K1-S. We continue with an important part, and that is the weight of the helmet. A lighter helmet not only improves your riding experience but also prevents fatigue in the neck. And when we weighed the K1-S in a size M, the scale showed 1442 grams, which is a good result. This result earns the helmet a nice 4 stars. If we again start comparing this with the other helmets, we see that it ends up at the top of the list, which is an excellent result. Especially when you consider that the K1-S is also 2206 certified. 2206 certified helmets are usually on the heavier side compared to the 2205 certified helmets. The heaviest helmet in this segment is the I90. Alright, now that we're done with the material and the weight, we move on to the helmet's visor. The visor of the K1-S compared to the K1 has changed. In fact, the K1-S now uses the visor from the K3 and K5. This is an upgrade over its predecessor and offers a wide field of view and the visor is anti-scratch treated. The visor is also pinlock lens prepared, but unfortunately the lens is not included in the box. In addition, it is possible to set the visor to multiple positions while you are riding. If we add all this up, we see that the K1-S earns a disappointing 1 star for the visor. And when we start comparing this to the other helmets, we see that it finishes at the very bottom of the list. Although we could have expected this result since its predecessor, the K1, also only earned 1 star for this part. So unfortunately the visor is a bit of a letdown. And now that we're done in the studio, let's move on to the road test. Before we start the road test, first a brief explanation of how we collect our data. On the left side you see a white thermometer. This is connected to a sensor inside the helmet. This thermometer indicates the inner temperature of the helmet. In the top center you see the decibel meter, which is connected to a microphone placed near our rider's ear. This records the sound as our riders hears it. On the right we see a phone that displays wind speed and outside temperature. This is connected to a wind meter mounted on our bike. In the middle we see the dashboard with the riding speed of our test rider. Now with that out of the way, we can start the road test with the noise. While testing the helmet we had an average wind speed of about 120 and riding speed of 130 km an hour. And if we look at the decibel meter, we see that the helmet had an average of 102 decibel. This is a very decent result in this price range, and therefore the K1-S earns 3 stars for the noise. If we start looking at the other helmets, we see that it ends in the middle, which is a decent result. The I90 was the quietest helmet with a very nice 99 decibel, which is pretty impressive for a helmet in this price range. But 102 decibel was not a bad result at all. Pretty interesting to see. Okay, great. Now let's move on to the ventilation. The K1-S has 5 vents on front of the helmet, of which 3 brow vents. These can be opened and closed. The K1-S has a large spoiler at the back containing 2 outer air outlets, through which all the warm air can escape. And when we tested the helmet, it was 2.5 degrees outside and 3.5 degrees Celsius inside the helmet. This means it was 1 degree hotter in the helmet compared to the outside temperature. And because of this, the K1-S earns a very nice 4 stars for the ventilation. If we look at the results of the other helmets, we see that it does well, and is on par with the Squall 2. The i90 from AGC was 1 degree cooler inside compared to the outside temperature, which is an extremely good result. Most helmets we have mentioned so far had no difference in temperature or 1 degree difference and therefore earned 4 stars, just like the K1-S. So again, a solid result from AGV. We continue with the only subjective part of this road test, which is comfort. For this part, we rely on the more than 15 years of riding experience of our test rider, who has also tested all the other helmets and can make the comparison like no other. Our test rider indicated that the K1-S felt okay, but you could tell that it's not a high-end helmet. This means that it felt better than the average helmet in this price range, but cannot be compared to AGV's top models. The helmet's inner lining is removable, washable and antibacterial. In addition, the lining is seamless for just a little extra comfort. The nose protector and wind protector are also both removable if you wish to remove or add these. And if we add all this up, the K1-S earns 2 stars. If we compare this to the other helmets, we see that it finishes near the bottom. It did as well as the 520 EVO and N66, and slightly better than AGC's i70. But the other helmets earned half a star or a whole star more, and we don't see any big outliers. In this price range, it is very common that we get lower scores on the comfort part. If you want to have all the bells and whistles, you must look more in the mid-range models. Concluding the comfort part, the AGV K1-S did similarly well as its competitors. Okay, great. We have to do one more part before we look at the final score. The K1-S has a new 2206 certification, which is becoming mandatory for newly manufactured and designed helmets. In addition, the K1-S has speaker pockets to easily integrate the communication system. Also, the helmet is glasses friendly and it is easy to take your glasses on and off while wearing the helmet. In terms of safety features, the helmet has a double D closure and the helmet has an EPS inner shell with 4 densities that comes in 4 different sizes. The inner shell ensures that impact can be absorbed very well. And when we add everything up, we see that the AGV K1-S earns 2 stars for this part. And when we weigh in the other helmets, we see that it finishes at the upper half of this list. There was one outlier and that was the i90 with 4 stars. Next comes the AGV K1-S along with the EXO 520 EVO. So again, a great result. Now that we have discussed all the specifications and features, we're going to look at the overall picture and come to a final score. For material, since the helmet is made of polycarbonate and comes in 2 outer shell sizes, the helmet earned 2.5 stars. Thanks to a weight of 1441 grams, the helmet earned a nice 4 stars for the weight. For the visor, since it is basically only pinlock lens prepared and offers a good field of view, the helmet earned 1 star. For noise, it earned 3 stars, thanks to a value of 102 decibel, and with a temperature difference of 1 degree, a nice 4 stars for the ventilation. For comfort, the K1-S earned 2 stars, and for features, thanks to the 2206 certification and speaker pockets, also 2 stars. Adding everything together, the AGV K1-S has an average of 2.6 stars, for which you pay €11 per earned star. Do you want more information about the K1-S? Then be sure to take a look in our webshop, championhelmets.com, where we always offer the lowest price guarantee and have great discount bundles. Also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more reviews, road tests and guides. Thank you for watching. My name is Simon from Champion Helmets, and until next time.